Welcome to Sunday Morning Quarterback with Jay Stockwell and Bob Frady.
I tell you what, Bob Fraley, I needed a day to process this situation. I mean,
you needed 2 days to process the situation.
Oh my God, can you believe it?
I'm still not sure you're done processing the situation. Okay, so if
Here,
we go back to our
hold on, I want to process them right now. Here we go.
I want to take us back to our season prediction podcast where I optimistically predicted an 11-1 record. Now, we know that didn't happen. But what I did say is that they would be 11-0 going into the Iowa game and lose in nut-busting fashion to Iowa.
Yeah, well, problem is the nut busting is one of our specialties. And I have a theory, Bob Fraley. I have a theory. By the way, you didn't even comment on my nice jacket.
Listen, if I commented on your nice jacket, all I do is be giving you comments on your nice jackets because you have a strong jacket game. But see, I'm dressed in Southern California. Like, it's too hot to wear a shirt under this thing. So it's a lovely jacket.
We've had a fantastic Thanksgiving holiday with my little man, young Callahan. So literally the whole weekend was built around his sleeping schedule, right? So everything was like, he has to be awake before we can go to lunch somewhere or do something. And
yet one more thing that Jay Stockwell has in common with a baby. Everything is built around his sleep schedule.
and poor Mondale was trying to get, literally trying to get, noticed in this whole period, right?
That's a tough conundrum for you. You got a grandchild versus Mondale.
But look at this. Look at this. Look at the lad. Look at the little lad there.
Look at that.
My. Yeah, he's
that.
He's a handsome child. So it was a lovely week. But Betsy and I we got everybody in and out, and so we're just going to go have a little date night, which is why I'm
very
not
nice
in the Husker attire.
Where are you headed?
I'm going to vote for Ciao Bella, but I'm not in control of this, so it'll probably be something different. So I have a theory, and I've like watched a lot of stuff, and our friend Adam Carrickers think one of his big things is you need a killer instinct. I actually think Matt Rule kind of gave away a big tell in the post the post game presser. He said, "Look, at halftime, we talked about three things: keep tackling, win the turnover battle, and don't make a big negative play in special teams." And you know what, Bob? They did all three. They literally totally dominated the game in every phase. I'm not even going to read you the stats because it'll make you sick to your stomach. Okay. And they literally, so I think this is part of the issue, right? They're playing not to lose. They had a 10-0 lead. Okay. And the mindset has got to be, and I think this is what Adam Carricker's saying. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but we're up 10-0. I want the score to be 30-0. So let's get out there and kick their ass. Keep doing what you're doing, and don't worry about making a mistake. Just keep doing what you're doing. Win the game.
Okay, I'm gonna add on to your theory. I'm gonna give you a +1 to your theory.
Okay.
Men don't recognize the word "don't." It's like it doesn't even exist. If you say "don't do that," it means do that. So if you say don't tickle me there, it means tickle me there. So if you say don't fumble, don't turn it over, don't do this, don't do that, that means they're almost guaranteed to do it. It's like, like if you want a man to do something, just say don't vacuum the floor. And next thing you know, the floor will be vacuumed. Men do not understand the word don't. It's not in our vocabulary. We do the opposite. It's like it's been a lifelong theory of mine.
You're making a critical mistake by implanting the thought in their head at all. I mean, when you say don't make a mistake on special teams, and they go out and make the most boneheaded special teams mistake I've ever seen. Like, you can't make that one up. You can't make that up.
Why, if you're going to let that ball drop, why aren't you screaming Peter, 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 or whatever your code word is?
Poison, I think, is poison. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, exactly.
And listen, I feel bad for Shavers because he didn't know. I mean, he's hustling his butt down the field, and it bounces almost around two guys. And no one touched it.
It actually probably looked to him like it bounced off somebody. So he thought it was a live ball. And
can't
so
blame him.
It's not his fault. It's the guy It's the guy that was going to catch the ball and then moved away from it at the end. And Matt Rule said that. So, and the other thing I didn't like about the post pressure is like he's saying, I told them these 3 things and they did it anyway. And but dude, the coaching happens not always in the moment. The coaching happens all year. And that's just like, you got to drill that what you do in that scenario into their heads throughout the season.
Yep.
No one should be anywhere near that ball if they're not going to catch it.
It was tough to see. The missed kick, the bad snap, can't blame the kicker for that one. But the sort of almost going into a shell at halftime and not, they were running up and down the field in the first half. It's like, I'm surprised it was only 10 points. And then it just, it sort of seems like at halftime, I'm not sure what they say to these kids, but their halftime adjustments are not very good. If you look at how many games we were winning at halftime versus how many we lost,
they literally played not to lose. That was
yeah.
They lost their edge. Oh my God, you can't make it up. I mean, passing 190 to 115. They didn't have any third down conversions and only had 5 first downs. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just absolutely total offense. 334 to 164. Okay.
Yeah.
We had 4 penalties. They had 1. That's another thing Iowa does well. They don't get penalized.
I will play these field position games. Like, we're going to pin you deep in your territory and wait for you to mess up. And it worked. People were booing the offense in the first half because they kept punting the ball, and it's like, it worked.
The whole thing not shaking hands at the beginning. Look,
yeah.
that Iowa won the intimidation thing. So they put the cops on the logo so they couldn't say their prayer at midfield. Who cares? Go say the prayer in the end zone. Don't make a big thing about that and then not shake their hands. You look like bozos not shaking their hands now, especially after they lost, right? Which is another mindset thing. Like, they don't shake their hands. Oh, what is that? What does that do for you?
I thought across college football, it was extremely disappointing. I'm not sure where these kids think that they can just take their flag and stick it in the middle of the team's logo. It's like, don't grow up. Just grow up. It's like, I realize that you're 18, 19 years old and probably, not a fully formed cranium. But it's like, what do you think this is? Some sort of like a video where it's like Grand Theft Auto where you get away with this stuff? It's like, this is stupid. It's just stupid. And so not shaking hands at the beginning of the game, it's like, hey, listen, if you're not going to shake hands all year long, that's one thing. But if you're going to do it just in a rivalry game, it's like, come on, grow up. It's like,
I give a lot of credit. Dr. Rob Zatechka tweeted out right away. He's a former player and a doctor in Omaha. He's like, this is not my program. This is not my program. You don't teach kids to do that. It's like, it's thuggery, and
it's thuggery if you win. It's just poor sportsmanship if you lose. It's like you win with honor, you lose graciously.
Kirk Ferentz has rules number. I mean, to play, they dominated every phase of the game and lost it. I mean, it's just crazy how that went. All right, so let's see what some of the writers had to say. I mean, I could barely wake up on Saturday morning. Okay, so Stryker, Nebraska had opportunities to put this one away, but the Huskers couldn't close the deal. Stukenholtz, if you looked up quintessential Kirk Ferentz wins in a dictionary, I can't imagine there are many better examples than this one. Totally agree. Of all the gut punches, Tom Chattel, the dean, this will be the most maddening of all. This time, Nebraska appeared to have the talent, execution, and physicality of the win. They did.
Even the punt that they fumbled, they only got a field goal out of it. It's like, and they missed 4 or 5 tackles on that touchdown run, and it's like, that's the difference in the game.
And it was a team captain, Gifford, that missed the tackle because he was trying to punch the ball out. Just wrap him up. Anthony Rubeck, the Hawkeyes know what it takes to win and have perfected it, while Nebraska still has ways to go to even come close. McEwen, same story, new script, more pain. Amen. Mitch Sherman, the Athletic, in the end, when it always matters for Nebraska against Iowa, the Huskers fell short again.
It's a shame. It really is. It's like they completely dominate the game. But listen, it happens. It happens in sports. You can dominate the entire game, and then in the last 2 minutes lose it. You can pull defeat out of the jaws of victory, and it happens time and time again. Every level of sport.
This is interesting. Chad Leistekow from the Des Moines Register said, if not for the heroics of Caleb Johnson, the Hawkeyes could have gotten run out of their own building. Now there's a good example of a guy that got stuffed all day long, and then finally made a play. An individual made a play. The other guy that I'll give credit to is the guy who made the strip sack at the end. He came out and made a play.
Yep. Yep.
And so credit to Iowa. They now it doesn't really matter because we were already bowl qualified. So 7-5 versus 6-6 doesn't really matter. And there were some positive takeaways, in this game. Like, look, the defense played overall a very good game, right?
Yeah.
And I thought in the first half, I thought Raiola played pretty darn well, but boy, oh boy, and he came from the blind side, the strip sack at the end, so you can't really fault him for that. But Bryce Benhart, the guy who was the tackle on the right side, you can't let that happen in that scenario,
Listen, who knows what goes on the field unless you're there. And plays happen. If one of our guys makes a play, we go, great individual play. It's just, it's tough. It's always a bitter pill. My concern is what's going on at halftime. So why so many, even when we have a great first half, game after game, second half, they come out and lay a turd. So what's going on with the play calling and with the approach and the halftime adjustments?
Yep.
I just don't. It's the most maddening thing about this team this year is how much they're a bipolar team. They play great one half and they come out and lay an egg in the next half of the same game. Man, it's like Jiminy Christmas. It's maddening. But all that said, going to a bowl game. I don't care if it is the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
I actually would like that. That would be funny. The Duke's Mayo Bowl.
We're going to do banging on Duke's. Look, if you went through all of our films and clipped out Duke's Mayo Bowl sucks and just strung them all together, it'd be like 18 minutes long. Banging on the Duke's Mayo Bowl, and then here we go. You're not going to bang on the Rose Bowl next year. I want to go on the Rose Bowl. That thing sucks. It's like, so, and then maybe we'll go to the Rose Bowl. So maybe we should adopt that. We should just say, you don't want to go to the national championship next year. Just to see if they ignore the word don't and go to the national championship next year.
Yeah. Well, listen, this is going to be a fun month. I'm going to talk to young Tyler Kai and see if we can't get to talk to Troy Dannon and Matt Rule in between here, in between now and the bowl game.
Listen, let Matt focus on the game. We could talk to him after the season. Listen, you made a bowl game in year 2 and got a good recruiting class. We'll see what happens. A lot of kids are going to wash out of this program over the next few weeks. People need to be aware that probably 30 kids are going to leave this program, maybe even more. And that doesn't include seniors who are graduating because of the scholarship limits next year. And the other thing about the scholarship limits is it's going to make other teams much more competitive because you can't just stockpile talent the way you used to. So it's going to be interesting. It'll be an interesting...
Is that the rationale? Is that why they're doing it?
They're doing it because they can pay the players now, and they don't want to have giant... if you're Alabama, you could put 200 kids on your payroll, and you could afford it because you make so much money. So in the interest of equity, they say scholarship limit is 105.
It's 11. It's a leveling of the playing field.
Yeah. So the rich have already gotten richer, but they don't want it to completely become, the people with all the money make all the money. Yeah, and I get it.
So, what's your grade on the season, Bob Fraley? If you had to give old Matt Rule a grade on the season, what are you giving him here?
C-.
Yeah.
C-. Yeah. It's a passing grade. It's not a great passing grade. You made a bowl game. you didn't get an F. So D. No, I can't go with a D. I'm too optimistic. C minus, I think.
Yeah.
He pulled the trigger on Satterfield, which made me happy. He just did it,
Yeah.
one season too late. But
That was a
that's me.
good leadership move there. And look, let's face it, the Big Ten is, I mean, it's 18 teams and 12 teams have, 6 wins or less. Right?
It's a tough league. This ain't the Big Eight no more, where you can have 200 kids and 100 walk-ons waiting to play. What I'm wondering though is will junior varsity football become popular again at the big school level? So you can't have a varsity roster with 105, but can you have a junior varsity? So you get injuries, you get all sorts of things.
For a long time, Nebraska had kind of a freshman team, right?
Yeah, well, it used to be that you couldn't play as a freshman, so you always had a freshman team.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it takes shape. I suppose I should do some research on that. But at the same time, yeah, C minus. What's your grade for the season?
Yeah, I think I'm going with you. I think it's a C to a C minus. So
if they win the bowl game, the bowl game is extra credit. So if they win the bowl game, they can jump up to a C plus or down to a D minus.
And I think the Dana Holgerson move was a really brilliant move. And I think Troy Dana needs to back the truck up to his house and give him whatever he wants to stay. And
I don't know, man. It's like I just, what happened to the offense in the second half?
I put that on Rule because he in his post game presser, it was just don't do this, don't do that at halftime. I mean, it's no. Let's go out and kick their ass again.
Stomp on their necks.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry about. Don't sit there and say, don't screw up on special teams, because that's exactly the thought you're planning in their head. You know,
if you're so bad on special teams, just rush 11 guys and leave nobody back there. So what's going to happen? What's the worst that happens? You get the ball on the 1 yard line, big deal. It's like better than turn it over on the 5 yard line.
I mean, that was the one play that just killed. It was a gut punch. You could have survived everything else. That one was
that touchdown run was like, oh man, you got to make that tackle. So he's a big kid, big strong kid, but at the same time, you can't bounce off that many guys.
You just have 4 guys. Literally, can't have 4 guys touch the guy and not tackle it.
Not just touch him, wrap him up and not take him down. But much credit to him because he out-toughed him and then outran everybody. He's fast, gone. So, but yeah, so C minus with the potential extra credit of the Duke's Mayo Bowl game. So, or whatever game they end up going to.
January 3rd in Charlotte. Let's hope for that. We don't want that after Christmas Bowl. That will screw things up.
Don't want the day after Christmas Bowl. It's like it's Phoenix, which is nice, but the day after Christmas, look, I can't go to that game. I got to get my family. But January 3rd, we're talking.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Bob Friendly, the regular season has been a pleasure. A lot of fun this year. And
I would not call it a pleasure. It has been it's been a journey. We'll call it an adventure. It's been an adventure.
It's been an adventure. That's right. And I'm glad we took an extra day to do this, because the immediate aftermath was so negative. It would have been really bad. But
I'm surprised that your head is still in one piece. I thought it would have exploded after the game.
George had a complete meltdown. I mean, he just was like, "Why did you have to go there to school? When did you have to indoctrinate me into this? Why?" Oh, by the way, basketball starts on Tuesday, and
nice.
From the sources I've been able to glean, George has been firing the rock hard at practice. So
did he make the varsity?
He did. Yeah.
Congratulations.
And he's going to play swing, which means he goes down and plays the first half of the JV game. And you just know,
get a shot.
Oh, you know that the coach is going to be wanting to test out that 3 ball and see if he can get some just park George in the corner and let him do his automatic 3.
Oh, man, he's it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see. So, all right, J-Stock, why don't you take us out?
Okay. All right. Great regular season. On to the bowl game. We'll be back with something in December. Maybe a Troy Dannon interview. Tyler Kai, you hear me? Troy
Leave
Dannon.
Tyler alone. He's done enough. Leave him alone.
He's out working on the wind tunnel. He's on the wind tunnel project.
He's on the wind tunnel committee. That's where he should be. Yeah, because I said it would be a track meet unless it snowed. Well, it didn't snow, but it was freaking cold and windy, and so it.
You want to talk about cold? It's like 9 degrees here right now, so I got to bundle up.
It's chilly here. I had to put my socks on today.
All right, so here we go. Go Big Red!
Go Big Red!